All right, it's that time once again. I'm here in the beautiful San Fernando Valley, currently standing in front of Lake Balboa. Weather's not that great today. It's a little cold. Well, cold for Southern California. It's low 60s, like 62 degrees. I didn't really dress for the weather, but we are here today to drive around the valley, see what stuff I can find that'll spark some memories. Before we get started, I want to take a second to thank my newest Patreon and YouTube supporters, only 2 this month, so won't take too long. Starting with my newest Patreon supporter, I would like to give a huge thank you to 327 Journal. I believe that's their YouTube channel name. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. And then my newest YouTube member, thank you to Martin Mayfield. Thank you both so much for supporting me on Patreon and YouTube and just for watching my videos. That's what really matters. All right, now let's go see what we can find. While I was over here on this side of town, I thought I would stop and check out the old Promenade Mall and see if there was anything going on with it. This is right off of Topanga Canyon, actually right next to the Topanga Mall. This was the less popular mall, at least amongst teenagers. I did come here every so often though. Went to that AMC theater, I don't want to say a lot, but definitely a few times. That's where I saw Titanic. Against my will, but nonetheless, that's where I saw Titanic. I also remember coming here to see American History X, Devil's Advocate. That was one that I remember coming here to see very late at night and then having to walk through a deserted parking lot. But the one that stands out the most was seeing Titanic here. I just remember walking out of the theater, walking into this lobby, and seeing a bunch of teenage girls standing there crying, consoling each other, and I was so confused. I'm like, what's going on? I know the movie was bad, but it wasn't that bad. You don't need to cry. Supposedly back in 2022, this entire piece of property was purchased by the owner of the Rams, and the rumor is that he's going to build a training facility for the Rams football team here. But again, just a rumor. And as of right now, it just sits here rotting. And then right over there used to be the Ruby's restaurant that my girlfriend worked at in high school. Every once in a while, I would come here to pick her up or drop her off. A little bit of a closer look. That was one of the main entrances to the mall. And then right there was the Ruby's restaurant that I was just speaking of. Every once in a while, they do events here, like in the front parking lot. But I don't think any of the restaurants or anything are left open. I could be mistaken. I see a lot of cars in the parking lot and I'm not really sure why. You can see the old AMC sign up there where it used to be. I decided to get out of the car and try and take a little walk around the building, see if I get chased away by security. Interior mall is closed. Obviously. So after I left the Promenade, I was thinking how funny it is that back in the 90s when this mall was open, how much I didn't want to ever come to this mall. And like I said, I would come here every once in a while with my friends just for a change of scenery. And we would walk around the mall talking about how boring it was, how it was an old person's mall, and how we shouldn't come here anymore. And now, 30 plus years later, I'm standing in the parking lot of this mall, filming it, talking about how sad it is that it's going to be torn down. Life is funny sometimes. Oh, maybe that's why there's cars in the parking lot. Looks like they're setting up a carnival over here. Like I said, they do, over on this side in the parking lot, they do different events sometimes. Things like carnivals. I know like they did a big Christmas thing out here. I think they did a Halloween thing. So yeah, looks like there's gonna be a carnival this weekend. But anyways, this was more high-end stores, so we didn't come here too much, but every once in a while we would come here just to have a change of scenery. Mostly we went to Northridge Mall, well, Sherman Oaks Galleria, and then after the Sherman Oaks Galleria closed, then we mostly went to Northridge Mall or the Topanga Plaza, which is really just, I mean, across the street. I mean, all these buildings are in the way, but on the other side of these buildings, just a few blocks away. Now there are still a bunch of restaurants over here. Again, I don't think any of them are still open. Corner Bakery. These were probably the last restaurants that tried to hang on. It's just really sad to think that back when this opened up in 1973, I'm sure this was packed every day, especially every weekend, full of people, and now it's going to be demolished. I wanted to take a few steps back and get a better look at this building, one of the old department stores, and you can see it has that classic old mall department store look. You don't see a lot of department stores that still have this look, and pretty soon this will be demolished and it will no longer exist. And yeah, it's sad to see it go. Even though, like I said, I didn't really come to this mall, I didn't care for this mall, it's still sad to see these old buildings get demolished, and pretty soon we won't have anything that looks like this anymore. Right next door, an old Barnes & Noble. I wish there was any kind of old signage on this building. See where it's starting to fall apart up there. Now, this is kind of interesting. The old loading dock behind this building. Bunch of trash, bunch of old pallets. These ones have some kind of artwork on it. See a bunch of, yeah, all of this has artwork on it. I don't know, probably just from one of the restaurants or something. Kind of interesting though. There we are. We came around full circle back to this side of the mall. Now that P.F. Chang's over there, that I believe is still open. You can see there's a bunch of cars in the parking lot. That may be the last functioning business on this property. Maybe the P.F. Chang's is what's stopping them from moving forward with demolishing the mall and building that training facility. Yeah, the P.F. Chang's is definitely open. I can smell it. And you can see people going in and out of the restaurant right there. Smells delicious. And it looks like every entrance people have tried to or have broke into the mall. That's so crazy. Can't really see anything. There it is, somewhere right there in that lobby is where I saw all those teenage girls crying after watching Titanic. Oh, Jack. It's even sad just to see stuff like this go, like these kind of entrances with these type of awnings over them. I feel like that's just a very 80s and 90s mall kind of look. And like I said, pretty soon, the more that they tear this stuff down, we won't have anything left that looks like that. And it breaks my heart. I wish someone would buy one of these old malls and open up kind of like a retro throwback mall. I mean, just imagine if someone bought one of these old malls and then fixed it up and put an arcade and a movie theater and an awesome food court, and then opened up stores like Radio Shack and Wet Seal and B. Dalton Books. So it turns out that Maggiano's is still open. That's crazy. I mean, that explains why it has the curbside pickup signs outside and the heat lamps and everything. But Yeah, it looks completely deserted. I just noticed as you're coming into the promenade, they have a sign for what the rates are to park here. Not sure who you would pay or why you would pay to park here. There's no one around here. There's no parking attendants, and it's just a huge, empty, deserted parking lot. So that's really weird. According to these signs, P.F. Chang's is open, Maggiano's is open, which we already determined, and also Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and Warner Chamber. At the carnival that they're building right now in the parking lot of the Promenade, they're currently putting together the Ferris wheel, and I just noticed, look at the paint job on the, I don't know, what do you call those? The baskets that hang on the Ferris wheel. Very, very 80s and 90s paint job on those baskets. As I leave the Promenade, I can't help but look around and think about how much things have changed here in the last 30 years. On this side, Pizza Cookery, gone. Toys R Us, gone. The bar next to Toys R Us, gone. Tower Records, gone. Over on this side, the mini golf place, water slide place, I mean, that's been gone a long time, but gone. The old Topanga movie theater, gone. That's where you would go to see $1.50 movies or see the Rocky Horror Picture Show on Friday night. The only thing that's left in this area is the old Topanga Mall. But that too has changed a lot. It was purchased by Westfield and then completely renovated. They made this more of a bougie mall, not quite as bougie as the Promenade was, but they definitely put some fancy stores in here mixed with the normal stores, which, you know, that's fine. Not a bad thing. It's still a nice mall. Right behind the Promenade, you got the old Fry's electronics store. Looks like it's probably going to be getting demolished soon. I used to work right around the corner, and I would walk over here on my lunch break because I had nowhere else to go. I would walk over here to look for DVDs. On Ventura Boulevard at Winnetka, right across the street from Taft High School, they took this old motel and they fixed it up really nice. I think this is now either like a rehabilitation place or a homeless shelter. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Then right next to it used to be a Denny's that I used to go to every once in a while. And I'm pretty sure I showed this in another one of my videos because I had an incident at this Denny's. I came here one night with a couple of friends very late, around 2 in the morning, and another person that was inside who was intoxicated asked us if we wanted to help him do an armed robbery. And it was very scary. We thought we were gonna die that night. And I never stepped foot back in this Denny's ever again. And they are now, I don't know if they're demolishing it but you know, they're in there taking it apart. There's a crew in there right now ripping it apart. I'm assuming that it's going to become something that has to do with the facility next door, because there's a yellow fence going around the entire property. But yeah, farewell, sketchy Denny's. So for a while now, I've wondered what the deal was with this building behind me. It's one of those buildings that I've passed by probably a million times, you know, the years that I lived here in the Valley, and I never really thought about it too much until recently. And so I wanted to figure out what the story was with this building. But it turns out that there's not much of a story with this building. It was a furniture store. I believe it opened in 1969, and that's what I remember it always being. All the years that I lived here in the San Fernando Valley, I remember this being a furniture store. So it must have been a furniture store most of the years that it existed. It's now an animal rescue place, which is really nice, except for they've kind of changed the look of the front of the building because they added a gate in the front to create a patio for the animals. So hopefully this cool looking building doesn't get torn down anytime in the near future, and it will remain here on this corner for many years to come. Okay, so right now I'm in Tarzana on Lindley and Ventura Boulevard, and everything that was here on, I guess this would be the northwest corner, everything that was here has changed. The large parking lot that was there for the Michael's Arts and Crafts store, that is now a medical building, which you can see there behind me. And there were only 2 things here that were still the same. That gas station, and then there was a small sandwich shop called Mick's Subs. And pretty recently, I want to say within like the last 6 months to a year, I was passing by, I noticed Mick subs, and it made me remember that when I lived just a couple of blocks from here in Encino, this would have been around like 1988 or 1989, I had a memory of my neighbor saying to me, oh, me and my dad are gonna go get dinner now. We're going down to Mick Subs. And he was talking about how great that place was. That means Mick Subs has been here since at least the late 80s. And I have never stepped foot in this building. I've never tried it. I have no idea if it's good. And so I thought, you know what? I should go over, I should film Mick Subs. It's been here in the valley for a really long time. I want to say maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was passing through this area again. It reminded me, oh yeah, I gotta go film Mick Subs. And as I drove by, I noticed that they were tearing the building down. And I could not believe that Mick Subs had been here since at least the late 80s. And now that I was finally going to talk about it and show it in one of my videos, it was being demolished. And then so today I came over here to talk about it, and they're now already building a new structure. But yeah, pretty crazy. Mick Subs here since at least the late 80s. So it had to, at the very least, have been decent. It was here for a really long time. Sorry that I never got to try one of your sandwiches. I mean, I only had like 35 years to do so. I just never got around to it. Did any of you go to Mick Subs? Did you like it? Let me know. And speaking of businesses that have been here in the valley for a really long time, another business right here across the street that I have passed by, who knows, thousands of times while living here in the valley. And I'm talking about the Barn Furniture Store. Been here in the same location since 1945. I gotta say, that's pretty amazing. Never been inside. I've never been looking for solid oak furniture, but the fact that they've been here since 1945, they probably sell pretty good furniture. So maybe at some point when I'm looking for new furniture, I should go check this place out. But I just wanted to mention it because, like I said, been here a really long time. I remember always passing by this throughout my years living here in the valley. And how about, have any of you purchased anything from the barn? So I was just driving by and I noticed that they appear to be doing construction on Grant High School. And the reason why this is upsetting, the reason why I stopped, is because this is the school that was used in the TV show Good Morning Miss Bliss. And for those of you that don't know, that's the show that would become Saved by the Bell. Of course, this was just used for exterior establishing shots. But yeah, this was the Good Morning Miss Bliss school. So hopefully they are not going to change the outside of this building too much. But I don't know, because it looks like they're getting ready to do some major construction here. So fingers crossed. So for this next location, I am asking for help from all of you. So a while back, I did a Valley video where I talked about this sandwich shop. I knew where the shop was, but I could not remember the name of it. And sure enough, in the comments, a bunch of you told me the name of that sandwich shop, and then I was able to talk about it in my next Valley video, and that made me so happy. And so I'm hoping we can do the same thing with this one. Now, with this location, I know the name of the business, but I'm a little shaky on the exact location. I know for a fact that it was located here at this intersection at Strathern Street and Laurel Canyon Boulevard, but I'm not exactly sure where. The business that we're talking about is Dial-A-Tape Video Store. And I talked about Dial-A-Tape in my very first Memories of the San Fernando Valley video, and I showed the location as being right over here. I didn't know which storefront it was, but I showed this group of businesses and I remembered it being somewhere right here. The only problem is I'm going by memory, and the last time that I was at Dial-A-Tape, I was probably like 6 or 7 years old. So memory's a little shaky. Now recently, I decided that since my wife and I have gotten a little bit better at finding stuff, I thought I would do a deep dive on the internet. The only thing that we could find was one ad. I believe it was for an Atari game, and then it had a list of places where you could get that game, and one of them was Dial-A-Tape. However, the address it gave was not for this group of stores. The the address it gave was across the street on the next block. So the address it gave in that ad was 7950 Laurel Canyon Boulevard, which would put us in this shopping center. However, I do not remember Dial-A-Tape being inside of a shopping center. I remember it being on the street and we parked against the curb, not in a parking lot. But again, this is my memory as a 6 or 7 year old, but I am pretty positive it was not in a shopping plaza. I have a few reasons why I remember it being over there in that location. But if it was inside of this shopping center, what unit was it? Was it this one or this one, or was it over here? I'm hoping that somebody watching this video remembers this location, because they had a few different locations, but it's the North Hollywood location that I'm interested in. If you have some kind of proof, like a business card or a bag or something with the address on it, that is a bonus. If you have pictures of Dial-A-Tape, that would be amazing. I would love to see pictures. So hopefully someone out there has info. Send me an email if you have any info. You can leave a comment, but it would be quicker to just shoot me an email. I'll see that much faster. All right, that is gonna do it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully someone has information for me. All right, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.